H4. So here what we will do, here we have a H4. And the first thing I'm going to do is kind of silly, but will help us understand what the choose function is actually doing. So I'm going to type equals choose. And the first argument, remember, is that index number. Just going to put a 1 there. So that will be my index number as of now. And now I just entered the items in my list. So let's say item 1 is the year 2016, comma 2017. Item 3, 2018. Cooker na rakhe tha na good. Cooker na rakhe tha. And close it off. And then press enter. So that returns a 2016 because the first item in the list is 2016. You can see here, not here, sorry. So this is here is my list, that is 2016, 17, 18, and in this I want our Excel to return first index, that is 2016. What if I give 2 here? So it gives me 2017 because 2017 is in the second position. If I change, as I said, if I change that 1 to 2, I will see 2017 and so on. Now, obviously, not a very practical exam because that one is hard coded. In fact, it is a 2 now, so not really a user-friendly way to deploy the choose function. So in this case, if you want someone to be able to choose any of these 3 years, like it would be to use something like a data validation list. Instead of choose, we can go with the data validation list also for these type of situation. So let's delete that formula because it is not serving the purpose what we need. So let's go into data and data validation, and we'll go to our data and we'll go to our data validation. We will select our tool, and here we will go with the list. The source is the list, and source for that the type of this thing is list, and the source for that list is our list of years. So here we'll click on the picker. So here I'll give this entire row C to E. Then I will again click on the picker. If I give OK, so here we'll give a drop down list where we have our 3 years. So this is what basically choose function does. So you got a basic idea of what choose function, but we in those type of situations, it is better to use the data validation, so it will look like a professional. If you go with the choose also, it's fine, but if you go with the data validation, then it looks like you're a professional in the Excel. So choose, then when in what situations we can you choose? Let's see that the advanced application of the choose function. Okay, so now from there, let's actually create the average rating calculation here in the H7 based on what that year. So based on this, whatever we choose, it should give us the average rating. So let's do the calculation of that. So we could start with something simple like average of C4 to C30. So here, what I'll say, average, and we need an average for 2016 for these ratings. So what I say, average from C4 through C13, something like that. So if I give the hit enter, then it give me the average rating for that particular year. So we get 6.54, and if we highlight this one, so if you see here in the bottom of the, sorry, left to bottom corner of the page, here also average is 6.54. So we are getting the, accurate thing. What we really need is this calculation to update and average each different cell range based on the year selected. So to get started, we can place our cursor. So right here after the average function. So see, each and every time we have to give the columns here. Now it is C4. Now next, if I want to calculate for 2017, it has to, I have to explicitly mention that from D4 to D13. So in order to not to do that, let's see how we can do. So we can place our cursor right here after average. So here itself I'll place a cursor, and what I'll say, I'll insert a choose function now. Choose, and we don't know what the index number is going to be quite yet. So let's just put a number there, number 1 to start. And now we need the 3 values in our list. So instead of just adding traditional values like 2016, 17, 18, the items in our list now are actually going to be the cell ranges. So the first item is C4 to the C13. So this is the first item. So the next item would be from D4 to D13. And our next item would be E4 through E13. So this is the 3 columns we've got. Then what we do is we will close off the one more parenthesis of choose function. Still we get the correct result here. If we choose for 2017, see, sorry, 2017. See, it has to give us 6.42, but if I choose 2017, it is giving me 6.54, because we'll see why it is not giving the proper one. But there is one more step, right? Because this index number is still fixed at 1. We want that to relate back to which year was selected. So if a user selects 2016, we want to choose the first item in the list, which is this range from C4 to C13. If they choose 2017, we want that too, like we want the Excel to choose from D4 to D13, but as of now it is not doing that. If I give 2017, it is still showing me average rating of the 2016. So we want a 3 to pull out the proper reference from that list in our choose statement. So there are a few ways to do it. One of the easiest way is to use a match function. So we are going to replace that one with a match function, and we're going to say, hey, match the year that someone has selected. So what I'll say, in the place of 1 here, I'll insert match function. Match with the H4 value, that is the year that user has selected, and try to find it in that list of 3 years. So that way, if they choose 2016, it is going to be the first item that they include. So again we have to give the, this is the lookup value and lookup array, that is C3 to E3, that we have to give C3 to E3. Then we'll close the parenthesis. Again we have to mention the what type of match it is, whether it is exact match or the approximate match. Then here we have to give the comma. So let's hit enter now. So we can see the average function is being calculated according to the year which is selected by the user. So if I give 2016, it will give me 6.4. If I give 2017, it give me 6.42, which is correct average rating result. And then if I press 2018, it gives me 6.57. So if you want to check that even, so you can see here in the footer here in the left side, the average is 6.57. So this is how you can nest multiple functions in the one function. So here what we have done, first we took average function, then we took choose function, then we took the match function. So why match function we took? Because our Excel has to calculate the average according to the year what we have selected. Okay.
Okay. But this is way too lengthy, ma'am, right? Like we
Yes,
have
it is.
to manually type. First, we have to make a choose, then we have to write average, then we have to write the match. So,
Yes, yes. Mhm.
lengthy thing.
So you understood, yeah, in
Yes,
what
yes, I have
situation?
understood, ma'am. We can continue
Yeah.
for another chapter.
Yeah. So you are in a position now when to use match function, when to use a choose function, and how to nested it. So that is the this thing. So it looks good there. So if we have changed it 2017 to 17.428, it is giving us the proper result. So we are good to go. We have used average with a choose function and a match to aggregate those values from three different cell ranges, which is a pretty cool trick, but we can do it better. Now let's actually make the calculation itself dynamic. So in this case, we want to calculate an average, but what if I'm also interested in understanding the maximum rating or the minimum rating for any given year? Well, we can do that by allowing user to select one of three different calculations to make. So let's use data validation. So what I'm saying is, if the user wants to only calculate the average rating, it's fine. He can go with this. What if the user wants to find the what is the maximum rating of this or what is the minimum rating of this? So he wants to find out many calculations. Like he want to do many operations on these data. So at that time, we can have here a data validation here. We can select the like wherein he can select the type of calculation he want to do or the type of operation he want to do on this data. So again, we are going to allow a list in the here in the data validation, and it's just going to contain three items that I will type in by here. Since it contains only three, I'll just type in by here. So what I'll say, so it has to, the user want to find the average, then comma max, then comma min. So the user, what if you want to perform three operations on this data, that we can specify here. Then I'll go and then I'll click OK. So if I press here, so oh, sorry, I think I had given, oh, I didn't give comma, I've given full stop. So you can see average, max, and min. So and I've got those three different types of calculations stored right here in the data validation cell. And now we are going to try to tie that to our calculation cell. But before we start writing choose, remember that we are going to need a way to make our index dynamic. And we can't really use any sort of match function like we did with the year, because we don't really have any other instances of these labels that we can draw from. So what we can do here is use a little bit trick here. So I'm going to use, so if I want to perform average, so here what I will use the I5 here. So this I5 will be the helper cell. So I'm going to use I5 and just write an if statement that says if the cell H5 equals average, if the cell H5 is equal to average, then we have to give the value. What if the value is true? Then return
Zero.
1. Yes,
Oh,
okay.
sorry.
Or return, if it is false, again I'm going to write a if function here. So again, if h5, if h5 equal to max, so value if true 2, otherwise 3. So we'll close out two parentheses here. So if I enter, so you can see it is giving me 1 because we have selected average. So what if I give max? So it is giving me 2. And what if I select min? It is giving me 3. So because I have given such type of condition here. If h5 is average, it should return 1. Or if h5 is max, it should return 2. If not, it should return 3. And let's so we have tested our if statement also. It's working good. And now that we have this index that is tied to our selections, we can plug that into the index argument here. Now we have here the index numbered here. So in this average rating, we can plug that. So match function, we will remove this match function and we will place this. I'll tell you, and then build out our list items accordingly. So because we are no longer just calculating average rating here, we can go ahead and update that label here. Something like equals whatever you have selected in H5. So what I'll say is equal to this is the sorry, H5 and rating we can give. So we are concatenating the H5 and the rating here. So just ampersand is fine, I guess. We need not give the this thing. Double inverted is not really needed, I guess. It is giving me this thing equal to H5 and okay, we have to give the double inverting also. the double inverted comma. We have to give the space here. Okay. So if I have selected min, then it should give me minimum rating. And if I select average, then it should give average rating. If I select max, it should give max rating and minimum. So yeah, it's working fine. So now that will change from average rating to max rating, so or min rating. So it looks great. All right, let's step here in H7. So let's see what is in H7 is okay. We don't want to really reinvent the wheel here because we have already have this. So what we can here do is, because we have so let's go ahead and work efficiently and keep that and wrap the whole thing in one more choose.
Okay.
Okay. So what I will do here, I will put another choose here. So choose one of the following calculations based on this index number. Based on this index number, it should choose the what type of calculation we are doing. So our index is going to be I3. I3 only, right? Not I5. I5, and now we enter our list items. So list items here. So remember, average is 1. So the first thing we want to do with this choose function is calculate the average, which is exactly what we are doing here. And now all we need to do is grab that whole thing. So we'll grab that whole thing. Oh, sure, sure. What happened? Okay. Copy it, add a comma. So here what I'll do, I'll put a comma. Now we are in item to paste that change the average to max. So I'll again paste it and I'll just what change average to max, which is our second type of calculation. And I will add one more comma, and for min also I will paste the same thing and we will replace min average with min. And then close off one parenthesis, that is for a final choose function. So if I hit enter, so you can see it is calculating based upon the calculation we have used. So if I give here average, then for 2018 it is giving the average. So if I uh, select different year, so it is giving me this thing. So if I select 2017, it is giving me 6.42, which is accurate. So now I have calculated average. Now I'm interested in calculating max. So if I go to 2016, the max of that max rating is 7.49. Yes, you can see the biography movie has the maximum rating in the year 2016. So if I scroll down to 2017, 7.20. Yes, it is giving me 7.20. If I scroll down to 2018, it is giving me 7.22. Yes, it is correct. So now what if I'm interested in min? So 5.35. So 5.35 is the least rating for the horror movie for the in the year 2018. So likewise, you can do. Okay. This is the sort of choose function. So in this type of situation, you can use the choose function. Now let's go with the new topic, that is defining ranges with offset. So the last lookup reference function that I want to talk about is called offset function. Like offset is a kind of lesser known function, but it's a really useful one when it comes to doing some kind of unique, powerful things which we will discuss in this lecture. But basically, just to give you some background, it's similar to index. It returns the value of a cell within an array, but it can also return a reference to a specific range of cells, which can be very useful when you want to create dynamic arrays. And I know that sounds kind of like very confusing. It will make more sense in the if we have a hands-on. So basically, syntax wise, offset starts just like an index function. uh, you determine a reference, which is what's your starting point. Typically that's a single cell reference, and then you have a rows component which tells you okay how many rows down should move, and then columns, which is how many columns over from the reference should I move, that you will specify. And if you just leave it at that, it will function exactly like an index. It will give whatever cell it lands on that particular place. But what makes offset difference is that it includes these two additional components, height and width, which lets you return a multi-dimensional array rather than just a value within a single cell. So these are optional, which is why they are shown surrounded by brackets. And if you leave those blank, if you just close out your formula after the columns indicated, again it will be just like an index, and the height and width will be default to 1 and 1. So you return the value of a cell that's one row tall and one column wide. Quick pro tip here, I'm showing you all these functions like offset and index match, which have very specific what, and in some cases very particular applications. Don't get too caught up in using them just for the sake of using them. So don't use an offset or an index match when a simple lookup will do the trick. So with that, that's how the function works. So you can try this out yourself. So if you want if you want the excel to return you some array, so at that time you can give the height and width, like here you can give two rows and three columns. At that time you will get a type of matrix like two rows and three columns, that type of output you'll get. So you want me to show the hands on this, or you will try on yourself?
Whatever would be fine for me, ma'am. If you can show a
Okay.
simple example, then we can later on continue with another topic. I would do not mind.
Okay, okay. We'll see then, and then we'll see. We'll combine offset with count to create a what? We'll see that. So if we see
Just a
that,
quick
then
example so that it can save our time.
sorry.
Just a quick example, ma'am. Do not
Sure,
get
sure,
so
sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll give the example. So choose is the last, I guess. So we have, okay. So before we dive into the scroll chart example, which is really cool, I promise. Like I want to show you one other a very common application of the offset function, which is to combine it with a simple stats function called count a. uh, there is an example of this in the homework exercise at the end of the chapter, but I want to show you a what sense of what it's all about. So in this workbook, what I am looking at here, obviously it's extremely complicated. I have got 6 items in a list and a column. A, like what I can do is use the count a function, which type equals count d. Okay, wait here. So let's have a new Excel sheet. Mhm. So here I will write some apple, orange, and then banana, and then peach, and then lemon, then I'll have lime. So here I will have a count a function in the C2. I will write some kind of count a. So counts the number of cells that are not empty. That is the function done by count a function. So we can see that. So it will count the number of cells which are non-blank values or cells within a specified range. So in this case, my range is the entire column A. So when I choose that, when I choose that off, it will return a 6. So I will give, so it will give me a 6 because there is only 6 non-blank values right here in column A. Now what does that have to do with offset? Well, what if we wanted to return the last item in the list, no matter how long that list is? So let's say last item. So what if we want to know what is the last item in our list? So last, so let's say last item, and right here in D2, this time I will go with the offset. So here you can see offset, we have to give the reference, then rows, then columns, then height and width. So what we are going to do here is we are an offset from the start of the list A1. So I will choose A1, that is the reference. And the number of rows we are going to move down is A count. So, so we can combine this with the count function, count A. So it will give us the non-blank value. So that will be the rows. So here it will give 6 as the output, and that 6 will be the argument for rows here. And for the value of the argument rows. Count A essentially means that we are making this offset function dynamic so that it can identify the last item in the list even as data is added or removed and the size of that list grows or shrinks. So we will take the count A of the entire column A, which we now returns a 6. And now before we move on, before we move on this, so count A. So I'll give the entire column. So what I'm saying is it will tell me that I will move 6 rows down from A1, which would take me to A2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, which is blank. We have gotten one row 2 for, so you don't worry if you're getting confused here. So all I need to do to account for that is -1. Wait, I'll tell you why. So here let me give -1. So and here I am interested only a row. I'm interested only this part rows. I'm not interested in columns. So if you don't want to give any columns at that time, you can give value 0, and there and I can ignore the height and width also. I'll just close the braces. So if I press enter, so it is giving me the last item of this list, that is line. So what if I don't give -1 here? So the last item, it is giving me 0. Let's see why it is giving a 0 by going to formulas and evaluate the formula. So this is our formula. So here in here it is giving us 6. It's having 6 from A1 to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It will come here. So it is giving us 0. So what we will say? A1 to 5. We will give -1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then it will give us 6. So that is why we will give -1 here. So this is the line. So this will be a dynamic. What if I delete the line here? So at that time it should give me lemon. What if I add a new member? I'll add a papaya here. So it should give me papaya. So this has become a kind of dynamic. So even if it shrinks or if the list gets added or shrinks, so it should give us the right one. So in these type of uh, applications, you can use offset. So let's see like how to use offset to create the interactive charts. So we'll go back to our workbook. So all right, so it's time to put Excel to the test. Uh, let's see what we can do to create a chart. So unlike most people have ever seen an Excel go ahead and open up the section, like or you can as we will continue to work in this workbook section 5, and here I'm in the scroll chart, and our goal here is going to be to create a chart with dynamic data reference, and we are going to do that using the offset function, and the goal is going to be create a chart that we can zoom and scroll to change the view of data that we are looking at. So we are going to step beyond the static charts that 99% of Excel users are out there using. So a little bit of housekeeping items. The first is that we are going to use scroll bars, and to do that you need to insert them through this tab. So here we have a scroll. So here we have insert. So take a look at the top of your cell screen. So if you don't see the developer like so here we should be having customize one. Customize. Yeah, customize ribbon. And then over here on the right, you should see a checkbox. Here we have, yes, checkbox. Again, I'm not having that. We should be having developer here, addings. I should install another version only. I'm not having any options here.